Welcome to the deep dive. We dive into your sources, pull out those key bits of knowledge. And today, well, we're looking at something really interesting.
Yeah.
Why are Gen Z and Alpha, the most digital natives, suddenly getting into vintage Tamiya RC cars from the 80s? It's not their nostalgia, so what's the deal? What's really going on? We're going to dig into the cultural, the psychological, the social stuff behind it.
And it's fascinating, isn't it? Because it's more than just a hobby trend. It's kind of a perfect storm.
How so?
Well, you've got this pushback against being online all the time, this weird sort of imagined nostalgia, plus Tamiya itself is just compelling. And then parents and platforms are pushing it along.
Okay, right. Let's get into it. The sources you sent over, they point to some really surprising stuff. Yeah. First up, this idea of an analog rebellion.
Exactly. The sources are pretty clear. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're feeling real digital fatigue. So they're actively looking for things, activities that give them a sensory reset. It's like they're deliberately counter-programming all that online pressure.
Like a great unplugging, kind of like vinyl coming back or film cameras.
Precisely that. It's about wanting something tangible, something imperfect. That's the key difference from the polished digital world.
So it's deeper than just switching off. It's about finding something authentic.
Totally. They call it radical authenticity. The sources say those little imperfections and analog stuff, they see them as hallmarks of authenticity.
Interesting.
And there's a mental health angle, too. Building a Tamiya kit, for example, it forces you into single tasking.
You can't really multitask that.
You can't. And in a world buzzing with notifications that focus, it can actually break cycles of, anxiety about the future or dwelling on the past. It gets you into that meditative flow state.
And the Tamiya manuals help with that.
Yeah, the sources mention how clear, precise, and beautifully illustrated they are. That structure, that logical step-by-step process, it's actually psychologically comforting for some people.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so beyond unplugging, there's this other angle. Anemoia. Longing for a past you didn't live.
Spot on, anemoia. Nostalgia for a time you only know through stories or media, specifically the 80s and 90s. They're often seen as maybe simpler times.
And things like Stranger Things on Netflix have kind of paved the way for that. Introduced the whole aesthetic.
Absolutely. Huge influence. It gave them the visual and sort of emotional cues for that era.
And Tamiya's old box art fits right in, that 80s look. It's not just showing the car.
No, it sells an aspirational experience. And what's cool is how the look of the old buggies, the low poly style, sharp edges, simple shapes, it clicks with Gen Z's love for retro digital stuff, like old video games.
So it connects their online aesthetic to something physical.
Yeah, it makes Tamiya feel like a tangible piece of a broader retro digital aesthetic. It bridges the gap.
Okay, so the look pulls them in. What about the Tamiya brand itself? That first in quality motto.
Well, that speaks to the precision, the user-friendliness. It makes it less scary for a beginner to jump in. But for Gen Z, it's more than just quality. A Tamiya kit is like a starting point, a platform.
For creativity.
Exactly, for personalization. That's where the hop-up culture thrives.
Right, modifying the cars, adding better parts.
Yeah, and now the sources talk about the maker community sharing 3D printable files. The Tamiya chassis becomes this kind of physical open source platform.
Like open source software, but for hardware.
Kind of. It's collaborative. It's about tweaking and sharing. It really emphasizes the process building, learning skills over just having a finished thing instantly, like those ready-to-run models.
It sounds really involved, really personal. But how does this actually get passed down? The sources mention two things, parents and platforms.
Yeah, the dual engines. First, you have Gen X parents. They're the Gen X conduit.
So their nostalgia plays a role.
Big time. They share their memories, but it becomes a shared experience with their kids. It's about teamwork, passing on skills, making memories together.
And the second engine, surprisingly, is TikTok, the new hobby shop.
Yep. Sounds weird, but it's become this huge place for discovering the hobby, learning how to do stuff, finding your community.
Through short videos.
Exactly. What the sources call micro-learning. Quick tutorials, build videos. It's basically edutainment. Education as entertainment.
And that creates a loop.
A self-reinforcing cultural feedback loop, yeah.
Yeah.
Parents introduce it, kids film it for TikTok, the algorithm shows it to more kids, they get interested, make more content, and so on.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together, what does this mean for you listening? It seems pretty clear this isn't just some random fleeting trend.
No, it's a real cultural signal. It points to this deep need for creating tangible things, for authentic experiences, and for genuine connection, especially in our super digital world.
So if you're thinking bigger picture, maybe for brands trying to connect with younger people,
It suggests you need to focus on the process, not just the end product. You need to embrace that authentic, maybe slightly imperfect aesthetic, and really lean into building a community, allowing for that co-creation.
and here's something really interesting for you to chew on. Tamiya isn't just selling a model car kit anymore, are they?
Not really.
They're selling an afternoon away from screens,
Mm-hmm.
practical lesson in mechanics, a little canvas for your own art, and maybe most importantly, they're selling a shared memory just waiting to happen.